Hey y'all, welcome back to the Free Black Women's Library YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Thank you for liking this video and thank you for subscribing to my channel. Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back to another Rambly reaction. And today I'm talking about the TV show A Different World. A Different World is currently streaming on Netflix and it's a throwback. It's a show from back in the day. This show first appeared on our TV screens in 1987. But since this is streaming on Netflix, I thought it would be interesting just to rewatch the episodes as a middle-aged person, just to see if I feel the same way about the characters, about the storylines, and so on and so forth. So it's a case study, and I'm taking you along for the ride. So season 1, episode 4, let's get into it. The name of the episode is Those Who Can't Tutor. And in it, we're continuing to experience this world building that's taking place on this Hillman campus, right? It's a new world and it's a different world. And so we have these characters, we have this ensemble cast, and as the show chugges along, we learn a little bit more about their personalities, their ways of being, on their interactions. And it's a interesting ride, especially this first season. Um, and that's all I say about that because I don't want to spoil it too much. But we know a few things already based on what's happened so far. And so this episode starts out with Dwayne Wayne. He's at the pit, the local hangout spot. And we've already experienced this idea that Dwayne is somewhat of a thirsty, girl thirsty person, constantly just panting around women, attempting to ask them out, just wanting to be around girls. It's as if he's been hidden in a bunker his whole life, and now all of a sudden he's exposed to Black women, Black beauty. The only person he never really hits on is Maggie and Jaleesa. He definitely has a crush on Denise, but he also hits on anyone and everyone else. So he's at the pit and he's asking multiple women in a row if they would go and see Clan of the Cave Bear with him. Interesting movie choice. Iconic film for sure, especially for this era and time, and a bit of an artsy deep cut. But he's asking these women, and his approach is so desperate to turn off. And so they're saying no to him each and every time. Sometimes they're not even saying no, they're just walking away. And so that's how the episode begins. And then we see Maggie come into the pit, and Maggie is our white student at the HBCU campus. Her experience is, of course, going to be her experience as a white person, but it's never really talked about. Those of you who know the show understand that there's what's the point of Maggie being a white student at a HBCU if we're not going to address that issue? The show takes a very sitcom-y formulaic approach in this first season. A lot of sitcoms, those of you who watch a lot of TV like I have, you know that oftentimes the trope in a sitcom is the trope and the joke is based on some type of misunderstanding, a miscommunication, and then hijinks ensue, and that's where all the laughter comes in. And then within the 22 to 28 minute time period, things work out at the end. It's like, oh, okay, there's an understanding, right? So that's basically this episode in a nutshell. Maggie comes into the pit and she's doing a news article. Now we know she's a journalism student and she's writing an article for the Hillman Chronicle and interviewing different people about the dorm rules. So she comes up to Dwayne with her recorder, and she says, Dwayne, what are your thoughts on dorm rules? And he says, I think dorm rules are stupid and they need to dog the rules. And she's excited because his take is a controversial one. So she says, Dwayne Wayne, Hillman sophomore. And he gets all nervous because he doesn't want to go on the record speaking against the administration, right? Dwayne is a good boy. He's not a rebel. And Maggie says, but you were so eloquent. And he says, oh, you think I was? Okay, use my quote, but just don't use my name. And she says, fine. So she goes on to interview Whitley, who's sitting at a table at the pit. And Whitley is our third member within this ensemble. Whitley Gilbert, our Southern Belle, very conservative, always dressed as if she's a office manager working a 9 to 5. Meanwhile, she's a sophomore at a college campus, but representation matters. And apparently there are Black girl college students out there who dress up to go to class in this way. And hey, shout out to y'all for doing that work. Whitley always has on a very structured suit and pumps, very tasteful. And her response to Maggie about dorm rules is anything a woman can do after midnight, she needs to do it before midnight. She's pro dorm rules. She's pro conservatism. She's pro good girl behavior. Now, when this episode first aired, I remember not really liking it that much. Something about it just made me uncomfortable. But I was young, so I didn't have any type of political stance or ideas around gender, anything, or even media analysis. But something didn't feel good about watching this episode and rewatching it now as an older adult. Yeah, I still don't like it, but now I know why. So Whitley gives her quote, and then she is sitting with Jaleesa, and in comes Denise looking forlorn and upset. And Maggie tries to get her to share her opinion on the dorm rules. And Denise just kind of pushes the microphone out of her face and she rolls her eyes. She's upset. Now, what we've established about all of these characters remains consistent. So, shout out to the writers for that, because Denise is always having some type of issue with school. Either she's not paying her bill on time or she's failing a class. And we know that she's on academic probation. They say it enough times. She's going to be in trouble. She's going to be in trouble. Her parents are going to be so mad. What's your issue right now, Denise? You're failing calculus. Apparently, you got a D in, you might get a D in calculus, which the Huxtables will not appreciate, right? Because they're sending all this big money to send you to Hillman. So Denise is in a sour mood. Whitley comes over and pushes the knife a little bit, like, oh, I saw you after math class. You look like you weren't looking too happy. Why why are Whitley and Denise in the same math class? Anyway, maybe that's overthinking it. But either way, Dwayne says to Denise, I can help you. I'm King Calculus. Just let me help you. It'll be great. And Denise is like, Dwayne, please, I don't have time for your jokes and your games right now. This is serious. So we move on. And we're in the dorm, and Maggie's article has been published on the back page, and it's very exciting. Her name is in the press, her title, her byline. She's doing her little dance. As we know, Maggie is the kind of like happy, high strung, go lucky, optimistic, cheerful, bubbly character. So she's excited, and I would be too, as a journalism student, to have your article in the paper as a new transfer student. It's pretty cool, right? And Denise walks in and she's also in a better mood because she got a math tutor, and her math tutor is going to be here soon. And she is going to make sure that she does not get a D in this class. She's on it, right? So we see Denise, and she is in Gilbert Hall, the women's dorm. Apparently, there's a study room in the women's dorm where you can meet with your tutor. So she's in there waiting for her tutor, and in walks Dwayne, and she rolls her eyes. She's annoyed. She says, Dwayne, please leave. My tutor will be here any minute. And Dwayne says, I am your tutor. This is what I've been trying to tell you. I'm King Calculus. And he pulls out his card and it says Dwayne Wayne math tutor. And she says, oh, maybe you are a tutor, right? And he says, I am, believe me, I am. Math, I eat math for breakfast. And this is one thing that stayed consistent with Dwayne. If you know, you know. So they have their tutoring session. It's going really well. They're chatting, they're jamming. Denise is getting the equations, the formulas. She's giving the answers, and it's groovy. It's good. And they high five. It's wonderful. Yes, go Denise. Go Dwayne. And then Denise sees on his watch that it's actually 1 a.m. So, oh my God, you're supposed to be out of the dorm by midnight because they lock the doors. Now, does this still happen on college campuses? I hope not. But either way, Dwayne is now in the dorm and he has to figure out a way to get out of the dorm and make it back to his dorm because Denise is on academic probation. And if she gets found out, she can get in trouble. She can get expelled. This is all her fault, blah, 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 right? So this is what I'm saying when I talk about the formulaic sitcom thing that happens where there's just like a mishap and then there's hijinks. There's a miscommunication, then there's hijinks. So in this, this is the mishap. Dwayne being stuck in the dorm. Now, even though it is a trope within sitcoms, this like mishap hijinks moment, it can actually be really hilarious depending on the actors and how well they're able to keep a straight face, depending on whether or not they can do physical comedy. There's a ambulance going by. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Every time I record a video, an ambulance goes by because I live in Brooklyn. But either way. So one example that comes up when I talk about mishaps and hijinks is the episode of I Love Lucy when Lucy and Ethel are working in the chocolate factory. Lucy specifically working in the chocolate factory and they're packaging chocolates. And the man thinks that they're working so fast, so he decides to speed up the process to send more chocolates through, and the chocolates keep coming through. And Lucy starts eating them, putting them in her bra, putting them in her hat, stuffing her face because there's so many going by at once. Like that's classic mishaps. That's a classic mishaps hijinks moment in a sitcom. A classic. And it's so funny. And the thing that makes it funny is the physical comedy and the way Lucy keeps a straight face the whole time. So back to a different world. Dwayne says, just show me to a fire escape and I'll be out of here. Because there's been plenty of times when I've been able to get out of a space with no one noticing. And Denise says, oh, yes, there is a fire escape. Oh, no, but it's from Whitley's room. More hijinks ensue. More mishaps, more hijinks, more. So this is a problem now because you're going to have to go through Whitley's room. Whitley, of all people, Whitley, the one who judges everybody, Whitley, who's got a stick in the mud, Whitley, who is condescending. No, we don't want to deal with her. Denise is like, but she sleeps with a face mask on and she plays a sound machine. So maybe she won't even notice. And Dwayne trusts in his creep abilities because he is a creep in more ways than one. I find Dwayne's character very creepy in this first season, especially in these first episodes. The way he's always hanging out in the women's dorm, the way he's always pestering women for dates. It's just a problem. And maybe if Denise had never left, they would have made them a couple at some point. I think they were building towards that, but either way, that's a whole nother tangent, rambly tangent. So Denise guides him to the room. He goes into Whitley's room and he's able to tiptoe and leave through the window. Whitley has her face mask on and she senses something's happening, but she doesn't see Dwayne in her room. Dwayne jumps down to the ground from the fire escape. Lo and behold, behold and lo, the fire escape lands right in front of Stevie's window. Stevie, the dorm director, who is always kicking Dwayne out of the building. And it's 1 something in the morning. So she brings Dwayne inside and wants to know, what were you doing in the women's dorm? And Dwayne tries to make it seem like, oh, he was on his way from the library and he saw a cockatoo. And she says, cockatoos live in Australia, first of all. Second of all, this story makes no sense. You were coming out of Whitley Gilbert's room. And if you don't, we're going to have a meeting about this tomorrow. And if that doesn't solve it, then we'll have to go to the dean. So Stevie goes up to Whitley's room and she says, Wayne was just in my room just now. And Whitley says, and you received him like that? The way Jasmine Guy delivers every single line in every single episode in this series, chef's kiss, perfection. Like, she never broke character. She never lost that accent from the very first episode. I don't know how she did it, but she worked it. And this particular scene I enjoy because the writers give her some really good dialogue. Stevie says, Dwayne was coming from your room. And she says, you would think I would let that buzzard in my boudoir? Buzzard in my boudoir? And then she also, Stevie continues to accuse her of having Dwayne in her room. And Whitley starts to get offended. She says, you can ask the Kappas, the betas, the omegas, the so-and-sos. Never. No one has breached this fortress. Whitley's letting us know she's a virgin, okay? She has not given it up and she doesn't plan on it. Her character is the type that would wait till marriage, right? In this first season. And Stevie doesn't believe her and says, well, we are going to have a meeting tomorrow in my apartment. You, me, Dwayne, and a brand new character that is unlocked. So Stevie leaves, and when she leaves, Whitley throws something. She is angry. And unfortunately, there's someone in the hallway who hears the whole thing. So this is where the story gets worse and where it annoyed me. This person that hears the whole thing, tells the story, gossip ensues, and Whitley is slut shamed. So it's bad enough that she is slut shamed for something she didn't do, but she is slut shamed, talked about by the men and the women. So no one's got her back. And Dwayne is giving big ups and props. I don't like that. So we're in the pit. It's the next day. We're in the pit and we see Whitley coming down the stairs. And there's this weird Stevie Wonder song playing. And she's got on all red, which is a very strange choice for this moment. She's got all red on and everybody's looking at her and she's feeling all embarrassed. And she goes to sit down with her books. And this man, another student, says, Whitley, why don't you leave your window open for me tonight? What? The girls are talking about her, and I just did not like this. And then here comes Dwayne walking in. He's getting high fives. He's getting pats on the shoulder, and he's loving it. He's like, oh, yes, fellas, come on, come on. That's enough. What? What in the gender wars, what in the backwards gender dynamics is this nonsense? Oh, I did not like this. I did not like this scene at all because Whitley is out here on her own. And of course, Whitley is not the most likable character, especially this season's Whitley, but it's still not fair the way she's being dragged and talked about by everybody. Like no one has her back. Stevie does not have her back. The only person that kind of has her back is Denise, but Denise is so passive aggressive, avoidant, and just almost willing to let Whitley bear this shame because she's so worried about her academic probation and being suspended because she had Dwayne in the dorm. Just tell the truth. Tell the truth. Y'all were studying and you lost track of time. But of course, if she did that, then we wouldn't have an episode, right? So let me not complain too much. Either way, so we move on and we have this moment where Jaleesa and Maggie, no, Denise and Maggie are in the room cleaning up, and Maggie's like, oh, right now, the two star-crossed lovers are the two accused. Dwayne Wayne and Whitley Gilbert are meeting with Stevie to talk about their scandal. And Denise is like, I really don't want to talk about this. Isn't there something else we could talk about? Like, I just don't think it's fair that we should talk about this. And even at the pit, when she sees Whitley, she goes up to her and she says, oh, Whitley, I know you're not guilty of what people are saying that you're guilty of. I know that you didn't do what people are saying that you did. Here come Dwayne. Hey, what y'all talking about? He knows that Denise might end up saying something, so he cuts off the conversation. And Whitley says to Dwayne, you weren't in my room last night, right? And Dwayne says, well, I was in your room. So she slaps him. I'm not pro-violence necessarily, but I understood why she slapped him because even though he was in her room, he's making it seem like something went on between them. That's the problem. So here we are at the dean's, at Stevie's, the pre-dean meeting, and we have seen two new characters in this episode, one of which is Ron, the person who goes on to become Dwayne's best friend, Ron. And the other is Sinbad. Sinbad is the dorm director. His character on the show, his name is Walter, but we knew him as Sinbad at the time. He was a comedian, right? So it's kind of cool to see these new characters being unlocked. Like I said, this world of Hillman continuing to be built out, more full characters, more development, right? So it's time. Dwayne is there, Stevie's there, and Walter is there. Jaleesa is also there because she is the dorm monitor, and Whitley is not there. They're all waiting for her on pins and needles. Jaleesa is excited to witness the tea because she's been talking ish about Whitley this whole time. And then Whitley walks in, and just like she had on the all red at the pit, now she has on all white in this very puritanical collar, lace, whatever. She sits down and she's like, I'm not guilty here. I have one fatal flaw. I sleep heavy, and I was asleep when whatever was going on was going on. So, and then Dwayne says, I was on my way from the library and I got sidetracked and tried to take a shortcut through Whitley's room. Sinbad says, this boy is not that bright. So I don't know what to tell you. And Stevie says, well, since we're not going to get up to the bottom of this now, the next step is to take it to the dean. And then in walks Denise. Okay. In walks Denise. I can't let this happen. I can't let Whitley take the blame. I can't let Dwayne. She tells the truth. Dwayne was tutoring me and we lost track of time. And he decided to sneak out through Whitley's room. And that's what happened. And problem solved. No more slut shaming and so on. Stevie says to Whitley, I'm so sorry. And Whitley says a public apology in the school newspaper will suffice. And I said, period. Because the way they dragged her through the mud over this nonsense, a public apology will most definitely suffice. And she got her public apology from Stevie and from Dwayne and from Denise as well. All three of them. It was in the paper. So Whitley's name was cleared. Denise did well on her calculus test. She got a great score. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much how the episode ends. So, like I said, I didn't enjoy this episode that much the first time it aired, but I didn't know why. This time, I definitely know why. It's because of the gender dynamics. But regardless of that, I get what they were trying to do. I just didn't enjoy that one part. And I will be back again to talk to you about episode 5. So let me know in the comments if you watched Different World when it first came out, if you're watching it now, and what did you think about the gender dynamics of this episode that was aired in 1987? Do you think that things have changed in 2025? Do you think that this specific plot line would work in the world that we're living in now? Let me know in the comments. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.